let's talk about Jimmy Kimmel first. His show has now put on indefinite suspension. Why? In his monologue Monday, the man said this, and I'm quoting, "We hit some new lows over the weekend with the man desperately trying to characterize a kid who murdered Charlie Kirk as anything other than one of them and doing and to score political points from it," end of quote. That's the statement that did Kimmel in. Characterize this kid? The man was 22 years old. Doesn't that make him who murdered Charlie Kirk? He didn't even say assassinated. Other than one of them, when the evidence is overwhelming, he was a anti-Trump, anti-Charlie Kirk lefty. Now, Jimmy Kimmel, 3 years ago, literally bragged about the fact that he lost half his audience because of his anti-Trump position. Podcast was called Naked Lunch. And he said, quote, "I've lost half my fans, maybe more than that. 10 years ago, among Republicans, I was the most popular talk show host." He then said that when Trump ran for office, ABC executives hinted, he used that word, he should back off his jokes about the candidate. Kimmel said on the podcast, quote, "I just said, what you want to do, I understand. I don't begrudge you for it, but I'm not going to do that. If you want somebody else to host the show, then that's fine. That's okay with me. I'm just not going to do that," close quote. He then said the executives backed off because they knew he was serious, his word. "I couldn't live otherwise." He said that country, the flag doesn't belong to them. This is ours. And when I see somebody coming in and ruining it, I'm going to say something about it, close quote. He's proud to be speaking against Trump, but feels like, quote, "There's a sacrifice you make when it comes to your audience, and you can do pretty well if you." But I'm not going to do that. He said this about the ratings dropping, quote, "No one is watching network television anymore," and mentioned that more people watch his show online. Let's talk about people who watch his show online. There's an article, came out a couple of years, I just updated it. Headline, "Analyst who analyzes late night TV, network late night shows became unprofitable 23. Raise your hand, driving, raise your hand if you love a job where you can make $15 million while your employer loses 30. That's what's going on here. And it wasn't just Colbert losing $30 million. This analyst said executives leaked that the Late Show, the Colbert Show, was losing about $40 million a year. The analyst was then asked, is that true? Yes. I would believe anywhere between 25 million and 50 million. And it's not just Colbert, it's all of them, with the exception, of course, of Greg Gutfeld. The analyst said, quote, "Revenues have dropped at a pace that far outstrips the speed at which costs can be reduced," which is a fancy way of saying they're losing a boatload of money. Revenues are lower than the costs. That's called losing money. He said this, 2022 was the last year that these shows likely turned a profit. And get this, in the last few years, CBS's, NBC's Tonight Show, Jimmy Kimmel Live have seen declines of, get this, 70 to 80% since 2015. Now, why is 2015 relevant, you ask? Well, I'll answer. Thank you for asking. That's the year Colbert took over from David Letterman, Fallon took over from Jay Leno, and then Kimmel to 11:35 p.m. At that point, they began to hemorrhage the audience. Why? because of what Johnny Carson said during that interview of 60 Minutes. Asked, why aren't you doing serious topics? He said, once you go down that road and you think you're so self-important just because you have a late night show, and strangely enough, you could use your forum to sway people. I don't think that's my job as an entertainer. Now, Jimmy Kimmel, if he's listening, would say, Elder, you're not my demo. I don't doubt that. Johnny Carson was a demo. Kids like watching it. Teens like watching it. I enjoyed watching it when I was in college. I enjoyed watching it. I enjoyed watching it ever since he retired. Every time up until the point he retired. Now, Kimmel says, well, more people are watching on YouTube. Digital. And this analyst said, quote, digital is a aid, not a cure. It helps, but it doesn't bring in the kind of revenue. He also said this. Here's another big problem with late night shows. They have no what's called library value. Unlike dramas, sitcoms, some of them can be retooled, streamed, or licensed, even internationally. Jokes here about Donald Trump don't fly internationally. You tell a joke, it's stale. So you air it, it's done. It's yesterday's newspapers. So all of these factors go into why so many of these shows are now in trouble. In 2015, again, the guys took over. The typical 11:30 p.m. show brought in over $200 million and made a profit. 23, same show underwater, losses well into the tens of millions of dollars each year, even though all of them have put in cost controls. And this analyst estimated by the year 2030, lose $70 million apiece annually. That's why he is gone. Donald Trump says he's gone because he has no talent. I could just right now go outside and grab a couple people and give them a talk show, and they'd be funnier than Jimmy Kimmel. And the ABC stations are going to air a memorial for Charlie Kirk in Jimmy Kimmel's time spot, which is the opposite of what, of course, Jimmy Kimmel would love for them to have done. In fact, I heard that he was going to double down had he not been suspended and come out with an even harder hitting monologue, blasting away at the people that are agonizing the death of Charlie Kirk, and double down over his assertion atmosphere of the MAGA people that have caused this to happen.
For full shows, live and on demand, it's Salem News Channel.